Hey, we're on chapter 26. It's called The Television Chocolate Room. The TV family, together with Charlie and Grandpa Joe, stepped out of the elevator into a room so dazzlingly bright and dazzlingly white that they screwed up their eyes in pain and stopped walking. Mr. Wonka handed each of them a pair of dark glasses and said, "Put these on quick and don't take them off whatever you do. The light in here could blind you." As soon as Charlie had his dark glasses on, he was able to look around in comfort. He saw a long, narrow room. The room was painted white all over. Even the floor was white. There wasn't a speck of dust anywhere. And on the ceiling, huge lamps hung down and bathed the room in a brilliant white-blue light. The room was completely bare except for the far ends. At one of these ends, there was an enormous camera on wheels, and a whole army of Oompa Loompas was clustering around it, oiling its joints and adjusting its knobs and polishing its great glass lens. The Oompa Loompas were all dressed in the most extraordinary way. They were wearing bright red spacesuits, complete with helmets and goggles. At least they looked like spacesuits, and they were working in complete silence. Watching them, Charlie experienced a queer sense of danger. There was something very dangerous about this whole business, and the Oompa Loompas knew it. There was no chattering or singing among them here, and they moved about over the huge black cameras slowly and carefully in their scarlet spacesuits. At the other end of the room, about 50 paces away from the camera, a single Oompa Loompa, also wearing a spacesuit, was sitting at a black table gazing at a screen with a very large television set. "Here we go!" cried Mr. Wonka, hopping up and down with excitement. "This is the testing room for my very latest and greatest invention, television chocolate." "Yeah, but what is television chocolate?" asked Mike TV. "Good heavens, child, stop interrupting me," said Mr. Wonka. "It works by television. I don't like television myself. I suppose it's all right in small doses, but children can never seem to be able to take it in small doses. They want to sit there all day long staring and staring at the screen." "That's me," said Mike TV. "Oh, shut up," said Mr. TV. "Thank you," said Mr. Wonka. "I shall now tell you how amazing this television set is and how it works. But first of all, do you know how ordinary television works? It's very simple. At one end of when the picture's being taken, you have a large movie camera and you start photographing something, and the photographs are split up into millions of tiny little pieces, which are so small you can't even see them. And these tiny little pieces are shot out into the sky by electricity. And in the sky, they go whizzing all over the place until suddenly they hit the camera antenna on the roof of somebody's house. And then they go flashing down the wire that leads right into the back of the television set. And in there, they get all jiggled and joggled around until at least every single one of those millions of tiny pieces gets fitted back into its right place, just like a jigsaw puzzle, and then presto, the photograph appears on the screen." "Yeah, that isn't exactly how it works," Mike TV said. "Oh, I'm a little deaf in this ear," Mr. Wonka said. "You have to forgive me if I don't hear anything you're saying." "I said that isn't exactly how it works," shouted Mike TV. "You're a nice boy," Mr. Wonka said, "but you talk too much. Now then, very first time I ever saw ordinary television working, I was struck by a tremendous idea. 'Look here,' I shouted. 'If these people can break up a photograph into millions of pieces and send it whizzing through the air and then put them back together again on the other end, why can't I do the same thing with a bar of chocolate? Why can't I send a real bar of chocolate whizzing through the air in tiny pieces and then put the pieces back together again at the other end, all ready to be eaten?' "Well, that's impossible," said Mike TV. "Oh, you think so?" said Mr. Wonka. "Well, watch this. I shall now send a bar of my very best chocolate from one end of this room to the other by television. Get ready there. Bring in the chocolate." Immediately, 6 Oompa Loompas marched forward carrying on their shoulders the most enormous bar of chocolate that Charlie had ever seen. It was about the size of a mattress that he slept on at home. "It's got to be big," Mr. Wonka explained, "because whenever you send something by television, it always comes out smaller than it was on the other end. Even with ordinary television. When you photograph a big man, he never comes out on your screen any taller than a pencil, does he? Here we go then. Get ready. Nope, stop. Hold on, hold everything. You, Mike TV, stand back. You're too close to the camera. There are dangerous rays coming out of that thing, and they could break you up into a million tiny pieces in 1 second. That's why the Oompa Loompas are all wearing spacesuits. The suits help protect them. All right, now, that's better. Now, switch on." One of the Oompa Loompas caught hold of a large switch and pulled it down. There was a blinding flash. "The chocolate's gone!" shouted Grandpa Joe, waving his arms. He was quite right. The whole enormous bar of chocolate had disappeared into thin air. "It's on its way," cried Mr. Wonka. "It is right now rushing through the air above our heads in a million tiny pieces. Quick, come over here!" And he dashed over to the other end of the room where the large television set was standing. And the others followed him. "Watch the screen," he said. "Here it comes, look!" The screen flickered and lit up, and then suddenly a small bar of chocolate appeared right in the middle of the screen. Go on, take it, shouted Mr. Wonka, growing more and more excited. How can you take it? Mike TV said, laughing. It's just a picture on the television screen. Ugh. You, Charlie Bucket, said Mr. Wonka. You reach in there and take it. Charlie put his hand out and touched the screen, and suddenly, miraculously, the bar of chocolate came away in his fingers. He was so surprised he nearly dropped it. Eat it, shouted Mr. Wonka. Go on, eat it. It's delicious. It'll be the same bar. It's only gotten smaller on the journey, that's all. That's absolutely fantastic, gasped Grandpa Joe. It's a miracle. Just imagine, cried Mr. Wonka, when I start using this across the country, you'll be sitting at home watching television, and all of a sudden a commercial will flash on the screen and a voice will say, eat Wonka's chocolates. They're the very best in the world, and if you don't believe us, try one for yourself now. And you simply reach out and you take it. How about that, huh? That's terrific, said Grandpa Joe. It'll change the world. Chapter 27 is called Mike TV Gets Sent by Television, but that's tomorrow.